Hello and welcome to the Franchise Tag Podcast. And I am back. I am Freddie Hall. This is Adam Martin. It's all so close. The Super Bowl, it's Super Bowl week now. Super Bowl week, Super Bowl 60. Here we are. This is what it's all led to with the Seattle Seahawks, kings of the NFC, facing off against the New England Patriots. The princes maybe of the AFC, but Seattle heavily favored at the minute. They're the king to topple, as the book is favoring them a lot currently. We are not in San Francisco, unfortunately. We are not on Radio Row like we were for Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans, but that's okay. We have got a few boots on the ground. Sky Lawrence Pank is over there representing Sky's the Limit and the Franchise Tag, and also obviously the New England Patriots, being the Patriot fan he is. Lots of exciting content coming out of San Francisco from a lot of our friends within the NFL media world, internationally, and also in America as well. Lots of really cool stuff. So, yeah, it's going to be an action-packed week. We did have a bit of a sabbatical this weekend, Adam. No NFL. It was nice, wasn't it? It's nice to have a bit of a pause, a stop break before the big game.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It takes its toll. We sit here and talk waffle most of the season, but it's like it does feel like it goes on for a long time, doesn't it? And obviously we put a lot of content out during it, so it is always good to have a week off. A little surprised that the Pro Bowl wasn't on. Normally the Pro Bowl's on, isn't it, over the weekend? But they've moved it. Is it tomorrow night, Tuesday night? I think it is. So they've moved that, but yeah, it's always good to get a bit of a break and give it a month's time, and we'll all be saying that we want it back again. But
well, we won't be going anywhere. After the Super Bowl, we'll be doing a post-Super Bowl show. Slight white lie, we will go away for a couple of weeks, and then we will come back for free agency and full draft mode as well. It's going to be a lot of exciting content coming out of the Franchise Tag. So make sure you're following us on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribing to our channel or following us on any social media platform and all podcast platforms as well. Bit of a breakdown of what will be happening probably in San Francisco right now. It's currently 10:45 in the morning. It will be today.
Recovering from an earthquake, aren't they? That's what's happening.
Yeah, that's what the reports have happened today. I mean, lots of
Sky
reports
turned up. What did you think? Sky turned up. What did you think was going to happen?
He shook the earth. He shook the very core of San Francisco. We have asked him about it, and he felt nothing. So I think it was 7 a.m. this morning, right? The earthquake.
Yeah.
Not been dubbed a name yet, not like us where we dub Storm's name every month. It feels like we have Storm Edna and Storm Ian and whatever, and this, that, and the other. But so there'll be first Radio Row today. There won't really be much going on there today. And then tonight will be opening night for the media. They already landed. Seattle and New England landed yesterday, so it's a full week of media for them. Tonight will be opening night. The lists have been published about who's going to be on main podium, and then basically everyone else walks around. You can just grab who you can. So hopefully Sky will get to chat to some players and some coaches on both teams. I know he'll be especially excited about the Patriots, obviously, as I said, in being a fan. So that should be really cool. Tomorrow night Pro Bowl, so that's pretty cool. Wednesday, Thursday tend to be pretty crazy at the at Radio Row, so that'll be a good fun to see what content's coming out from there. And then it's sort of a quiet Friday. When are the honors, come to think of it?
I think it's Thursday night, isn't it?
I think it's Thursday night. It was Thursday night last year, from what I remember, from what I recall. Yeah, and then Saturday's pretty quiet, and then Sunday, San Francisco, Levi's Stadium is where it will all kick off. We are very excited to watch it, but we're going to break down both teams and also some of the announcements that came out of the NFL world today to close out. So we'll start with the Seattle Seahawks, champions of the NFC. Heavily favored, like I said, Adam, heavily favored, and rightly so in my brain. What a team. I mean, we had the LA Rams game, Seattle game last weekend, and we sort of said that was our Super Bowl because we knew it was going to be a heavyweight matchup. It was reminiscent of Muhammad Ali fights in times gone by, with a massive, George Foreman, Ali rumble in the jungle sort of scenario. Not that there's a jungle in Seattle nor in Los Angeles either, maybe a bit of a concrete jungle. But Seattle, I mean, I'm running out of sort of superlatives to describe how amazing this team is and how all conquering they are on both sides of the ball. And Sam Darnold silencing the doubters as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It is it's really difficult, isn't it? Because obviously you kind of want to have a good game for the Super Bowl. Everyone does. That's kind of what you want to see. It doesn't always happen, but it is kind of what you want. And it feels like it's going to be tough for the Patriots to be able to do much. Well, not much, but be able to compete with a team in Seattle that really is just that good on, offense, defense, special teams. It really is and has had a great season, Seattle, and it kind of feels like it's about, it's going to continue. Sometimes when it's a bit like this, it does feel a little bit like, oh, everybody is saying how amazing the Seahawks are, and everyone's saying that it's going to go this way, that, it kind of takes all the pressure off the other team. But yeah, I mean, it's tough to see a different outcome because Seattle, the offense under Darnold, I think that's kind of been what we have perceived as the weak point, to be honest, out of the whole thing. And yet it goes to show that when he went up against the Rams last week, just how good he can be and how he has that ability to go out and throw for over 300 yards and get 3 touchdowns and not have any interceptions in a game, which becomes not a complete shootout, but it kind of was a bit of a shootout, that game. And then obviously the team itself, if you have to go away from that and you have to grind it out a bit more and you have to be a bit more defensive or you have to rely on the run game more, it can do that as well. And so it really is difficult to see how Seattle don't do really well here. And, a lot of credit has to go to Mike McDonald and just the coaching staff in general, because I think Clint Kubiak, especially as the offensive coordinator,
Soon to be new Las
well, it
Vegas Raiders
does
head
feel
coach.
that way, doesn't it? Seem to be the Las Vegas Raiders head coach. You have to sort of, like you say, it kind of felt like the defense going into this season felt as though it would be reasonably good. And I think you could argue special teams, we didn't really know, but, there was a chance. And obviously the trade for Shaheed really sort of pushed that up. But the offense was kind of where we felt like, will Jackson Smith and Jigba sort of kick on? Will they have enough weapons for Darnold? Will Darnold be able to do what he did for the Vikings? There was a lot of question marks over it. But I think that you can see that a lot of them questions have been answered. And, if it becomes a very tight game where they're going to have to rely on the run a bit more, then they'll probably do that pretty well. And if it ends up being a shootout, well, they can do that as well. So there's a lot of positives for Seattle.
Yeah, I think any team that gets a Super Bowl, it is that sort of special ingredient mix, and that sort of special sauce that sort of gets you there. They are firing on all cylinders in every sort of facet of their game. The O-line's been tremendous. Darnold's been, fantastic. You say about question marks in terms of receiving. I still think Kenneth Walker has question marks over him as well. His fitness, his injury prone. He's sort of been that middling running back. He's not at the elite end. He's not at the bad end. They had a string at one point of backups / he was sort of backup at one point, and then they landed with Zach Charbonnet. Charbonnet is going to be injured for this game. But he carried that load last week, and he proved that it can be sort of a one-man show with him in that running back room. And Jackson Smith and Jigba, I think it was bold in that offseason. DK Metcalf, you can say what you want and everything about it, but he's got name power. He has star power about him. And to go, we're going to move off of him. Tyler Lockett was an obvious one. You could have, I do argue you could have kept him around instead of Cooper Kupp. You could have done it a different way, I suppose. But then Cooper Kupp plays that slot position a lot better than Tyler Lockett does. He is that speedster, but he is 32 now. Moved off of Fant. They moved off some guys that were proven guys in the NFL, and they went to the well. They believed in their guys. And it prospered for them. And it's the same on the other side of the ball. They've not made any really notable big moves or signings with the defense. I suppose they brought in Nwosu a couple of years ago, didn't they? And Che Nwosu. In fact, he's even there still. Actually, now I'm thinking about it.
I'm not sure if he, but yeah, I mean, you are right in respect of like they did make some big, bold decisions, and they sort of, I suppose, went
I
towards.
mean, we're scaling over the one that's the biggest one of all is obviously moving off of Geno Smith and bringing in Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I mean, it was because obviously, like at the beginning of the season, there were people coming out going, well, it's the same type of quarterback play, the same sort of numbers from from previous years. What would be the sort of benefit of that to him? And it just kind of felt like they decided that was the right time to make the move and to change the quarterback and change different things in the organization. And maybe that was an element of Mike McDonald kind of being like, well, for his first season he just wanted to see what he had, and then maybe okay, now I feel like I know what we've got, I know where we need to go and where to be. And obviously the changes were made, and I think like you say, Tyler Lockett going is not really a massive shock. Obviously, really big, popular character for Seahawks fans, but it just kind of felt like, given his age, it was the right move to make. But yeah, the DK Metcalf trade is kind of the big move in a way. With the sort of Geno Smith and Sam Darnold one, you can come out and go, well, they've gone for someone younger. So you could kind of see where the logic was behind it, and sort of almost be like, well, if we're getting the same play, then why not? Sort of thing. It kind of made sense. So you could kind of see where the logic was for that. But the DK Metcalf trade, he's in his prime. So to go out and basically just get rid, they obviously saw something that they weren't that keen on. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done it. So to get rid of him, to move on from that, obviously they knew they were very confident in Jackson Smith and Jigba and his abilities. And I think to a certain extent, I think most people felt like he was going to kick on. So that's not really a shocker. But I think
I don't think to this extent though.
No, that's true. I think that we felt like he could be one of, not necessarily the best receiver in the NFL, and I still, he's had a very good season, but I don't think he's that. But I feel like
in my brain, if the DK was staying there, I would have gone, this is an opportunity for Smith and Jigba to be the best number 2 in the league. You know what I mean? Like that was like my thing of it. Is like, I don't know if will be the top one, but I think he's got a very good opportunity to be the best number 2 receiver in this. He can compete with T. Higgins. You know what I mean? Like, at the time, we didn't really know what was going on with George Pickens in Dallas, but that's where I had JSN before the season started.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. I mean, I wouldn't say that I had him specifically anywhere, to be honest, but I just kind of, I feel like now we should all have learned that if a wide receiver comes out of Ohio State, there's a good chance he's going to be pretty good. So I think that kind of tells you that that's sort of the way forward, and that's that there was a good chance that he was going to be decent. But it's I think that he's probably kicked on slightly more than what we all thought that he might. I mean, obviously it's opportunity, isn't it? DK Metcalf goes and loads of targets suddenly come up for him, so that's how come it's happened. But he's been able to do it. He hasn't had any serious injury issues over the season. He's managed to be all right throughout all of that, and they've done really well. And then I think a big thing, and this is something that came up with us during the draft last year, where I remember you saying to me about how Schneider doesn't draft O-line guys. Like, it's just not what he does. And he comes out and he goes and gets Gray Zabel, who was someone who I remember
that, didn't I? Completely.
I remember talking about during the draft show and saying to Andrew,
really
like, yeah, absolutely. Thought he was great and looked really good and has been brilliant for him. Has done really, really well and really helped plug that left side with Charles Cross. And I think that they've got everything going for them.
I think we've got to, because you look on the defensive side of the ball, and they've been very heavily drafting defensive guys for a while. I mean, is John Schneider up there with one of the best GMs in the league now in terms of drafting? I mean,
I think he has to be, because
you have to
not
say he is. He's just
not
hitting.
yeah, not only because, I mean, obviously the drafting stuff has been great, but it's also the fact that he has gone to the Super Bowl and won it with Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll all them years ago, and now he's doing it, and he's gone to the Super Bowl again with Mike McDonald and Sam Darnold,
And a
the
different
ability.
model, really.
Yeah, a different model, but
I know that's coaching more, but that team was Legion of Boom, run
yeah,
heavy. And you could go, all right, they've dubbed themselves the dark side, the secondary for Seattle. And I mean, that's got to be up there all time best nicknames. I love that so much, the dark side. And but they've not completely lent on the run this year. It's been a different model, but again, that is coaching. But Schneider has he's drafted to accommodate that, hasn't he?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I think that's something that you're seeing, and I'm not saying it's the only way you can win, but you look at the Rams, you look at the Packers, it's kind of similar things. The defenses are very young, it's like it's about bringing in. Obviously, you have certain guys who are like established pros and veterans on your defense, but Nick Emanwari was drafted last year, great, for them. Devin Witherspoon is still on his rookie contract. There's some really, yeah. Is that Byron Murphy? I think is still on his rookie
Julian
deal.
Love, Byron Murphy. I mean, when you say veteran, Leonard Williams is tremendous this season.
Yeah, and DeMarcus Lawrence has been good for them as well, sort of thing. And it's like that's kind of what you need. You need a few of them, but the facts is like you need to have a really young defense that's ready to go and has got that explosive nature about them. And I think that you can see that in this Seahawks team. So yeah, I mean they've done really, really well on offense, defense, and then special teams. They realised that was a potential weakness. They go out and trade for Rashid Shaheed, who didn't cost the world, but I think it was a third round pick. I think he was, and they've gone out and they've done it, and has made a massive improvement to the special teams as well. And also, obviously, he can come in and play wide receiver and help with the depth there. So it kind of feel like they not only did they sort of bring in a really good team, but they also sort of had that feeling of like, okay, we need to improve this little bit here to push us over the top. And arguably, it could well be doing it.
Oh, to sort of round this off, a word on Sam Darnold. We all know his journey and how turbulent it's been, and he was tremendous in Minnesota, and he's been remarkable this season. The big thing has been when's it going to run out? When's it going to turn into Sam Darnold being poor? Because it's sort of what happened with Minnesota at the end in the playoffs, and we have seen it in prior places. Do you think I think even if he loses this game now, he has done enough in the last 2 seasons that you can't dispute this guy's got it. This guy is a franchise quarterback. He's won playoff. He's got to the big game, and even if he tanks in this game, I just don't think you can come out and say, well, he's not that good, or we're seeing a bit of what he really was at New York and Carolina. Like I think he's completely shaken that now from my point of view.
Yeah, I think the fact that he has managed to have 2 14-3 seasons in a row with 2 different organizations shows that he has the ability to be a decent quarterback who can be used as a franchise guy, and can, you don't have to look at moving away from him. He's clearly got that ability about him. I think Vikings fans would have been more than happy for him to still have been there this season. And the only reason that kind of happened was because obviously they drafted JJ McCarthy and they wanted to see what they had with him. And obviously when they signed Darnold, he hadn't really done that much, so that was the reason behind it. So you can completely understand the theory behind that. And but yeah, I think that he's shown that he's a capable quarterback. He's shown that he has the ability to lead a team. And you can come out and you can say like, the defense is helping them along, or like he's got some very good, reliable wide receivers, or the O-line has been fantastic. These are all true. But there's not many Super Bowl winning teams where that isn't true. It's like you look back and you look at the Patriots when they won all them times, and everyone can come out and go Brady was amazing, but Brady wasn't like the best necessarily, the most sort of like pinpoint precision sort of quarterback. He wasn't necessarily the guy who ran with his legs. He wasn't, but he was good for the team. And over the course of his career, that's why we call him the greatest, because of how many times he won as well. But the point is, you don't necessarily have to be the best quarterback in order for your team to win the Super Bowl.
We said it the other day when we talked about like weaknesses and stuff like that. Are we and Sky, I've about it, the weakness is Sam Darnold, and I mean now with him and how he sort of silenced that. What is the weakness of this team? Because I would still lean on that he can turn the ball over. Now, I think they're that good a team that sometimes it doesn't matter, but this is the Super Bowl. It is these things that change the outcome of the game. Is that fair to sort of say that's their weakness still? Because that's the only one in my brain where I'm like, when I look at this team, it's just, well, he just turned the ball over a little bit too much for me.
Yeah, I mean, he had, was it 14 interceptions this regular season? Okay, yeah. So he does have that about him, and he might end up doing that. But in reality, it's like when you look at the other sides of the ball, it's hard.
It was 14. Sorry.
Okay, it's hard to come out and say that the defense is a weakness. There isn't anywhere on the defense that's a weakness. Like I say, special teams has been good. You can't come out and say that that's a weakness either. So it does kind of boil down back to Sam Darnold again. It's like Smith and Jigba is probably one of the most reliable wide receivers in the NFL now. Cooper Kupp has had a very, very quiet season, but during the playoffs has turned up at important points, and is again another reliable
come in and done exactly what they needed him to do.
Yeah, exactly.
That reliable guy in big games.
Yeah, that's exactly what they want and what they needed him for. And the run game is good even without Zach Charbonnet. It's like, I know that Charbonnet kind of took over in respect of sort of like the amount of snaps compared to Walker, but when he went out, Walker still, he had 3 touchdowns against the 49ers. So it's like he's still a very, very good running back. There are very few weaknesses. I think Darnold is probably the one that you kind of think to yourself, he might be that. The pressure might get to him, but you didn't see the pressure get to him against the Rams. And, largely you can come out and say that's because of the O-line and how good the O-line was. But do I feel like the Patriots front seven are going to be more explosive against this O-line than what the Rams front seven were? Maybe, but probably not that much difference, to be honest. So, yeah, I think it's fair to still question Darnold, but I think he's probably going to be all right.
Champions of the AFC, the New England Patriots. We'll move on to them because we've just gone on about how incredible Seattle are. I can say the same thing about the New England Patriots. There is a reason why these two teams have got to the Super Bowl. We'll go on to maybe some of the negatives, but they are the underdog in this. I think they'll love that. I think they'll absolutely love that as a team. I think Vrabel will love that. I think Drake loves that. The fans love that, because I think it's a prove it moment. It's we're here to establish that we are going to be back into a dynasty era. They went through so many years of being so incredible. They had their down years. Of course they had their down years. And they've had their down years this time, and they've come back and they've bounced back and they look better than ever. Drake May, we were so complimentary of Sam Darnold. He's even younger than Sam Darnold, freshly drafted only a year ago into his second year. And we said this from the start when he came in that when he got drafted. This guy has got something. He was overcoming the coaching negativity last season. He was overcoming Gerard Mayo. He was overcoming it all. He was still playing at a very good level because he is that level. He is this good a quarterback. And who's he going to throw it to? This wide receiver room, no good, not got any stars. Well, he's proven that he doesn't need stars because these guys, Kayshon Boutte, Demario Douglas, Stephon Diggs, Hunter Henry, Carl Williams, Mac Hollins. Hunter Henry is a household name. Stephon Diggs is a household name, but Stephon Diggs is not the Stephon Diggs we saw in Minnesota or really at the start of Buffalo. He's been using a different way. He's not seen the targets and he's come in and I think he's completely accepted the role that I'm the vet leading the guys. And then we flip on to the other side of it with the defense. I don't think the defense has got really, again, notable stars. Gonzalez, you could argue on your days a top 10 cornerback, maybe even a top 5 cornerback for some people, but has had his injury bug. Milton Williams impressed in the Philadelphia last season, but I have to admit and I have to say, I thought he got his plaudits when they got to the playoffs. It wasn't so much he was getting the plaudits in the season. It was more of a notable thing of when he got into the playoffs, which suddenly he was this incredible defensive tackle, but he's been remarkable this season as well. I'm Vrabel coming in. We've said it continuously, haven't we, Adam, that this was the massive mistake by Tennessee. It was a real big mistake. It was a massive question mark for all of us of like, what are Tennessee doing here? Yeah, all right, they've had some turbulent moments with Vrabel, but this guy can clearly coach, and he's a good coach. There was that question of can he get them all the way? But under him, they got to the AFC Championship. Like, what people are going to go, that was just Derrick Henry. Like, come on, like this guy can coach. He knows what he's about. And the offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniel, is tried and proven. We know what he's about. Yes, he's no good as a head coach, but this guy can coach offensive football in the NFL, and he's done it for years and years now. Why is it that they are the underdog? Is it because Seattle are such a juggernaut, or is it that there is a little bit more chinks in the armor for the Patriots, maybe?
I think that the reason that they're the underdog is that you can clearly sort of, when you look at the Seattle team as a whole, it's really difficult to find a spot where the weakness is, or find a spot where you can go, the Patriots are better than them in that area. I don't see it. Like when you look at, for all that you've said about the Patriots and these players that they've got, when you look at, say, like the offense. So Drake May has been great this year. I think we all when he came out of college, we all kind of felt that he was going to be really, really good. And there was a lot of us that a lot of people were coming out and saying that he would be the number 1 pick in most years. It's just that Caleb Williams was there, and the promise of Caleb Williams was kind of what everyone liked. But May looked really good, and I think that there was a lot of people on his side. But when you look at the offense, you can come out and say that Stephon Diggs has done well and he has played his kind of veteran role. But he has done more this season than what Cooper Kupp has done. So you can't take that away from him. But the thing is like for the Seahawks, that's their number 2. And for the Patriots, it kind of feels like it's their number 1. And I think that's where the issue is. And it's just a little bit like that. You look at the O-line and you go at how well the Seattle O-line has played all season long. The fact that Gray Zabel has been able to just come in effortlessly and help shore up that left side. And the right side's been great as well. And it's like the whole line's been good. Will Campbell is his first year playing left tackle in the NFL. It's like you could see in some of the playoff games, they were targeting him on purpose because it was the first time that he was playing that position. And, say like against the Texans, you got like Hunter and Will Anderson coming at you. It's like, it's going to be tough. Well, the Seattle pass rushers, they're not bad. They're not Will Anderson, but they're not bad, and so they're going to target him again. And it's just like the O line in general just isn't quite as good as what the O line of the Seahawks is. Again, you go to the defense, and it just kind of feels a little bit like, yeah, they've got some good players there. It's like you say, Christian Gonzalez, great corner, really good corner. Harold Landry and Robert Spillane have done really well as veterans to help them out. It's not the Seattle defense, though, is it?
But the names on to counteract this, there might not be names on paper, but this team has performed. They're a top 5 defense. They're tremendous defense, and you said they've done it without probably some headline names. And again, on the other side, you say about the O line, Drake has overcome that. The run game has overcome that as well. Ramondre Stevenson and Traven Henderson.
I think that's going to be. That's going to be a huge thing if they've got any chance. It's going to be Drake May rushing. I think that he's going to have to run the ball a lot, and he's going to have to sort of do what he did in the last game against Denver. I think that's going to be the way that they're going to get through this if they've got any chance of getting there. So yeah, I think there is a little bit of that, and the run game has done well. I suppose the problem is that it's just very difficult, because I would argue that the Seahawks defense doesn't necessarily have amazing name recognition in it. This is the point. It's like it kind of feels the same sort of thing. They're quite young, and they got a couple, but then so have the Patriots. It just feels, when you look at the way they play, and yards per play over the season, yeah, the Patriots defense was 7th. They did really, really well. Seahawks were 4th. This is what I mean. It's like everything, every stat you look at, everything you go through, it just feels like the Seahawks are just that bit better. And I think that's why it's difficult. And then, of course, there's the obvious issue that everyone points to, where you just come out and go, Patriots didn't play anyone.
I was glad you're going to say that. Very glad. Because I don't think we can count the Patriots out. They've got here for a reason. They've been a very good team. There's a lot of positives. And I think that in the hands of this coaching setup, this is a lot more formidable than maybe it is under some. It is shown that this team is a lot more formidable than it is than other teams.
Yeah.
If they beat Seattle, is that unfortunately the albatross that's going to be around their neck? Is that, well, you didn't beat anyone to get there, even though they beat in most people's brains the best team in the NFL at the minute.
Who?
The Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, well, you mean, in the final.
Beat Seattle, they think that the albatross, inevitably, the thing that is going to come out is, well, you beat Seattle, but you didn't beat anyone big.
Yeah. It's going to be like it all
to get to the Super Bowl. But then surely beating what is, again, in most people's mind, the best team in the NFL, if that is true, I mean, for me, I think they are. I firmly believe the LA Rams were, but they beat the LA Rams to get there, so they must be they must be the best team in the NFL.
I suppose it's not necessarily a case of whether the Seahawks are the best team in the NFL. I mean, I think it's difficult to come out and say that they're not, because they were the number 1 seed in the NFC. So it's more about the season, I would say, rather than the fact they got to the Super Bowl. That's what I would argue, because it's like I think your season ranking, that's playing over 17 games, so it is tough. But it's like, so you kind of feel like you have to come out and say, no, the Seahawks probably are the best team this season from what they've done. But yeah, unfortunately, well, look, at the end of the day, the record book, there's not going to be an asterisk, is there, saying, oh, you didn't play anyone. But the point is that, everyone is going to come out and go, you got to the Super Bowl and you didn't play anyone. Because in reality, if you actually look at who the Patriots played during the season, they played the Bills twice, who got to the playoffs, and they played the Steelers once, who kind of snuck into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all they did. Oh, and they lost to the Steelers as well. And yes, they beat the Bills, but they also lost to the Bills. So actually, 2 of their 3 losses came against the 2 teams that they played that actually made the playoffs. The issue now is that you're playing against the Seahawks team who not only played against the 49ers twice and the Rams twice, but they also played the Steelers and beat them. They played the Texans and beat them. They played the Jaguars and beat them. Anyone else? They played the Panthers and beat them. Now, I know that, some of them teams, okay, they didn't get very far in the playoffs. It's the same
you got to
argument.
remember the Patriots did beat the Panthers as well. Just if we're for the sake of being fair, for the sake of being fair.
Oh yeah. I'm not saying that they lost to all. I'm just. Did the Patriots play the Panthers? Did I miss that?
Yeah,
oh yes, they did. They beat them, didn't they? Quite early on. So
42-13 in week 4.
So that there's, it's not a case of like they've literally played no one. But when you put them up against the Seahawks, there's a clear and obvious sort of the Patriots' schedule has been much, much easier. And I think that is another reason why everyone's going, they're not going to win. Which, look, at the end of the day, it kind of is, it's a one-off game. Who knows? They've got a chance. And I think it's unfair to just come out and go, oh, well, they're not going to win. It doesn't matter. But I think if you're looking for clues, these kind of the things that you see and you look at and you just go, well, they haven't played many people or difficult teams. So I'm going to go on the side of the Seahawks because of it. I think that's what most people's argument will be.
Well, what have they got to do then to beat the Seattle team? Because in my brain, it's you can't turn over the ball. You absolutely can't.
No.
Oh, well, I am going to interrupt the broadcast just very slightly because we have someone very special with us.
God,
reporting from San Francisco. We've got Sky Lawrence Pankin.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I made it. I'm good. Sorry, it was just that we had the opening press conference, which overran with Andrew Luck was a special guest at the end.
Oh, fantastic. Well, we are recording. You are live. Well, not live in the sense of it, but we are doing the episode. We were just talking about your New England Patriots, actually, but we'll get back onto that in a second. Well, firstly, so how has it been in San Francisco? You got there what day? Saturday?
Saturday, yeah. Obviously, everyone's prepping for Radio Row's doing a lot of the prep for all the different broadcasts that are there. A lot of the UK people set up as well. Talk Sport with the Irish NFL show guys. Who else? You got the team heavy ones. Pat's Unfiltered are there. So yeah, everyone's ready to go. Today's still a bit quiet, but apparently all the press stuff is mainly going to run from tomorrow through to Thursday. People hyping up the Pro Bowl. I know Adam loves a bit of the Pro Bowl. Who doesn't want to see a bunch of multi-millionaires play flag football?
So we sort of opened up the show with what the breakdown will be this week. So I believe tonight is the opening night, which will be you at the stadium. If it is at the stadium, with the teams coming out on podiums, the one by one. And then tomorrow's the Pro Bowl. Wednesday, Thursday, obviously being a big day for the actual Radio Row. I don't believe there's anything on the Friday's the honors, right? Or was that Thursday night?
I think it's Thursday this year.
Okay. I think it was Thursday last year as well, from what I recall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got honors Thursday, Man of the Year event maybe Friday, or whatever that's on the same day.
The Water Paint Man of the Year is the same in the evening. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all happening.
So nothing on the Friday, nothing on the Saturday, and then obviously the Super Bowl on Sunday. There was a little bit made out last year about who takes the stage first and how late the presser was last year. Who's taking the stage first this time? Who's going to be in for a late night, or is it not that late?
The Pats have picked all the early ones, so they're on at 5 p.m. local time today. Tomorrow's 11:30, but then they have the 2 7 a.m. slots. So I don't know if Rabel's maybe done that just to get them out of the way early and then give, the team the rest of the day to practice and rest. I can't remember who went first last year. Can you?
I think it was Philadelphia.
Yeah, well, if it worked for them, then hopefully Works for us. Milton Williams can share some insight.
So last year when we were knocking about, there was, lots of stars, lots of faces, lots of people knocking about. He said it's a little bit quiet. Have you seen anyone notable just yet knocking about?
Walked past Chris Sims earlier. They were doing a practice for the Mike Florio their show. Have I seen anyone else no, other than Andrew Luck? I mean, that's a big deal. No one knew he was going to be there. So that was he made a comment about how, of course, he's here. The time that he's here is when the Pats are in the Super Bowl, and he was just like, they're giving me enough headache over the years, and yeah, now great, I'm here for another Patriots Super Bowl. But yeah, no massive stars. Yeah, but we'll see, right?
So what are your plans for this week? What's going to happen?
Do the pressers tonight. Do the press conferences tomorrow. Do the media party. As you know, Fred, last year was it was a good networking opportunity. And then some more press stuff Wednesday, Thursday, and then see what the end of the week brings. I just think from what I gather, San Francisco are keen to put on as good as a performance as they did last time. When they had 50 and it was whole like special anniversary. They seem quite keen to make an impact because of World Cup as well. It's almost like the cities are competing against each other for who can put on the best performance. And I think given it's the World Cup as well, yeah, we keep hearing a lot of that talk going on.
Well, they're sort of in preparations for that as well, sort of advertising themselves that they can do a big World Cup.
Yeah.
Interesting. That is interesting. One issue that we sort of earmarked regarding San Francisco being a host is the fact that, it's not in San Francisco, it is in Santa Clara. It is all a little bit far from each other. Is that proving a bit of a problem? Has that been commented upon already, that it's all a bit of a faff getting around everywhere?
Yeah, everybody's like, why are you about to take an hour Uber to go to your other hotel? I was like, well, because all the team stuff's there. They're like, but how are you going to get back to Radio Row? I was like, I don't know, the shuttle, I guess. So, yeah, I mean, I guess you've mapped out, I guess the sort of inner conflict they must have had is San Francisco is, up north, and they want the 49ers to have, I don't know, some representation, even though Levi Stadium is nearer to San Jose. But I think maybe if they put all the events in San Jose, maybe it would have just not been what they were looking for. They're trying to show off all the little areas. But yeah, logistically, it is quite tough. I'm sure LA will be the same as well, but Americans are used to it, right? It's only us Europeans who are not used to it.
Well, we were just talking about your New England Patriots, actually, and we were vaguely slating that, pound for pound, man for man, they are the weaker side and they're not looking as good. And we were just about to say, what if they are going to beat the Seattle Seahawks, what is it that they need to rely upon?
I have looked, and I guess I can say this now because I'm going to keep it for the questions, and it's us guys. Seahawks, as much as they blitz a very low rate because their front's so good, so they obviously don't need to do that. They got the luxury of having more men in coverage. They are giving up the second most yards after the catch, which I do think I told Adam off air last week. And Drake May, I believe, has been first out of all quarterbacks in the short routes throughout the season in terms of, we led the league in pass completion as well, didn't he? So I think we're going to have to see a typical Josh McDaniels script in previous Super Bowls of using running backs and tight ends in that short game. You don't want to hold on to the ball for too long. We saw the long drives against Denver. We saw that against Houston. I think the Patriots' key to winning is not turning it over and having long drives. Because if you score quickly, I imagine Seattle will do the same. If it becomes a shootout and they score over 25, I would favour the Seahawks. But if you can make it a bit of a defensive slugfest and maybe keep Seattle to around the 21 mark, then I would like the Patriots' chances of maybe nicking it by one score.
Well, we'll let you try and head off. You were beside yourself last year when you saw Seal. Is there anyone this year that you're hoping to bump into, hoping to see, hoping to have a handshake with?
I'm remembering that we're recording. I don't know. Let's hope Dido's not going to be around this year. I don't have my Dido background today. I don't think Dino's at the Super Bowl. Who would I want to meet? Well, I missed Kurt Warner last year, didn't I? I remember asking the TalkSport guys to let us know. I think you might have seen him.
I did, yeah. I said low again with fist bump.
He's supposedly doing an interview again this week, and I mean, he's one of the quarterbacks I'll probably first watch when getting into the NFL. It'd be nice to say hi to him, but not non NFL related. I don't know. We'll see. If Sabrina Carpenter's knocking about, I'll say hi.
Is there any question, Adam, that you'd like to give, or maybe a question that you have that you'd like Sky to ask one of the players this week? Maybe.
Do you think that Drake May's going to have to use his legs in order to win?
That would be a good question for Josh McDaniels, wouldn't it, really? But I guess he would just say, we'll see the game plan. But for me, I think, yeah, he has to. That's probably one of the few alternative options that we have that their offense doesn't have. And Sam Darnold's not particularly mobile, is he? No. So Drake May's going to probably have to be aware enough, like I was saying, especially if they're getting so much pressure up front, he's going to have to adapt and do that. Probably good for the bets, Adam. You'll know more than me, but if you had Drake May over 50 rushing yards and anytime touchdown, I don't think that's a bad bet.
Both of you are definitely going to be betting on this game. So, go on.
Yeah, I just think that there's a good point that Adam's made. Like, I don't think the Pats win if, say, Drake May necessarily is in the pocket all game. You've got to get him moving so that to catch this defense off guard, because they are so quick. I know we've already played 3 top 5 defenses, and Seattle technically don't rank in the top 5, but I think they're better than probably all the ones that we played in terms of personnel. I love that you're both smiling that I had to throw that in there.
Well, Adam said there wouldn't necessarily be an asterisk in the book of Super Bowl champions, but the arbitrage, the thing that everyone will say if the Patriots beat Seattle is, well, the schedule. But I said, when you beat what is in people's minds the best team in the NFL, does that erase that?
You'd like to hope so. I mean, I don't want to make it about other teams, but I sort of come to the point where I would, I'd bit, but try to defend the schedule thing, but I got it. But when we've got people like Josh Allen who've never made a Super Bowl and they've missed their opportunity, like, there's no excuse come playoff time. We've still made the Super Bowl. So the same with Sam Darnold. People say whatever they want about him and the fact that they've only played a banged-up Niners team and a Rams team who they've already played twice. I've heard people saying that this week when they're trying to make a case for the Patriots, and they've not played sort of a different style. They've sort of lucked out is harsh. But what I'm saying is they've had some familiarity. So you can make narratives on both sides. But at the end of the day, these two teams are in the Super Bowl, and there's a lot of players and teams that have not done that for years. So I think they both deserve respect for their own ways of getting there, and may the best team win.
That's so interesting, because I said that I think even if Darnold loses this game, the whole Sam can't do it, even if he tanks in this game, I don't think there's any question anymore that he's not a good, competent quarterback in the NFL. And it doesn't just, if he has a bad game in this game, it doesn't suddenly be like, oh, well, he's actually just the guy in New York and Carolina. And actually, last 2 seasons have been all lucky.
I agree, but I do think this is his only chance to win a Super Bowl. I don't see him getting back. I don't see him coming back.
Interesting, because we were complimenting how John Schneider's got to be the best drafter in the NFL now, and then if he carries on doing what he's doing with this coaching unit, that they could just keep solidifying.
You would expect they maybe in next year's draft, or we spoke about the class, right? They might take someone in the later rounds. They'll still roll with Darnold next season, and rightfully so. But I just think, like, I don't know, if we're talking about guys like Joe Burrow, might not even get back given what's happened. I know Seattle are a much better run franchise, but you just don't know how many opportunities you're going to get like this. And I've been making the same case as the Patriots, by the way. I know historically we've been to loads, but who's to say Drake? I think you would like Drake May's chances, obviously, of getting back more than, say, a Sam Darnold, but nothing's guaranteed in this league.
He's got time, hasn't he? He's got more time than Sam, hasn't he, for one.
Sam Darnold's had a different arc, and I think he'll be, if any pressure comes from his performance, that'll be where it's from. Because look, the lights are bright, Adam. There they are. We'll see how Darnold does. They'll be extra bright on Sunday.
The lights are bright, meaning the sun is
No, it's stadium light.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll leave you to it. What have you got
Yes.
planned for the rest of the day?
Uber, hotel
Uber.
check-in, and
Chill
that's
out,
it. Yeah.
and then back to stadium.
Yeah, got to get some questions ready. So ping me over any that I don't know. What's your favorite food in Europe?
I'm sure we can think of something a little bit better than what's your favorite European food. But you enjoy. We'll leave you to it. Have a great time. Make sure you catch Sky's the Limits on his social media handle tonight, because I'm sure he'll have a lot of content coming out in the next few days in San Francisco. So I really appreciate you coming on, buddy.
Good to see you both. I'll catch you later
Enjoy.
on. Have a good evening.
Yeah.
Well, that was very, very nice having Sky come and join us for just that moment, wasn't it? That was very lovely. Enjoying himself in San Francisco. Looks like it's a gorgeous day there. We'll tie things up with the announcement today of the International NFL Series coming in 2026. Been announced today that France, Paris will be hosting an NFL game. And it has also been announced that they will be returning to Madrid as well. NFL Spain will be back at the Bernabeu, and it'll be at the Stade de France in Paris, in Saint-Denis in northern Paris. That gives us a total of 8 international games, because we'll be debuting Melbourne this season as well with the LA Rams. And it has also been announced with NFL France that the New Orleans Saints will be the host team as well. This was rumored last year and also early this season as well. I feel like last Super Bowl there was definitely NFL Dublin was the big thing last season, but it was like NFL Ireland is coming. It feels like it's definitely going to happen. And then the expansion is just growing now. So what we're at now, 3 games in London, if we still have that, Wembley, 2 at Tottenham. We then have Rio, we have Melbourne, we have 1 in Munich, we have Spain and France. That's
Is there
6.
not one? There's one in Ireland next year, isn't there?
1 in Ireland, 7. Why am I saying 8 then? Where's the other one?
Mexico, maybe.
Maybe Mexico.
I'm not sure. I'll have a look and see if anything comes up. But yeah, it's well, they're slowly taking over, aren't they? That's the whole point. You know, I think the okay, so there's plans for 8 games. So, sorry, I'm just trying to find the news on it. Here we go. 7 international games have been confirmed,
but suspected 8 maybe.
Imagine. Yeah, maybe Mexico's not one then. So yeah, Madrid. Okay, 3 games in London, 1 in Rio, 1 in Madrid, 1 at Melbourne, 1 in Munich. Oh, and 1 in Paris, obviously.
Yes, that's 8. That makes the 8th one.
Then. That's 8. That's the 8th one. Yeah,
so it does make it 8.
So yeah, 8.
Well, it's just expanding. Obviously, for us, with the access we get, which we were forever grateful for, anything that's Melbourne was a great milestone, but we were like, yeah, but that's 24-hour flights Australia, so we're self-funded. It's a lot to go to. Having one a little bit closer to home, especially for me and you, where it is quite accessible with the tunnel and flying. People do fly to Paris. I mean, you could drive there if you really, really wanted to, and make a full week of it and get the channel and everything. It's just growing and growing. The NFL expansion is wonderful. With this game in Paris and it being New Orleans Saints as well, what does this signal for the growth of the game? Because it's not slowing up, and it's not feeling. Everyone for a long time was like, oh, well, NFL, why don't they have a franchise in London? And it was all about London, and now we've grown and grown and grown to the point where we're in, again off the top of my head, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 countries. 6 countries: Australia, Spain, Brazil, England, Germany, France. 6 countries. Yes.
Yeah.
What's it? What's the signaling? What's the direction, do we think?
Well, the talk is that they want to go to 18 games a season, and do that, and obviously only have the 2 pre-season games. That's what a lot of talk is that the NFL want to go to. Obviously, they want to. There's always talk about expansion and having more divisions, or having sort of like more teams in divisions or stuff like that. And I do feel like one of the potential ways that could come about is having a European division, which is why I think you're seeing them go specifically to other countries. Obviously, had Spain last year. You've now got Paris this year. You've got Ireland. You've got us over here in England. There is talk about Italy being another potential one at Rome, the Olimpico Stadium. That's another one that has been mentioned. And so I think it's kind of about just putting your footprint, isn't it, across different countries. Obviously, I know just because a country likes rugby doesn't necessarily mean that they like American football, but I think there is an element of, well, the French, big for, the Six Nations, Italy as well, Spain, not so much, but obviously we saw how successful that was last year. And I think there's just a sort of a desire to just keep on expanding, keep growing it. From what I've seen of a few interviews from different owners, I think there is a feeling that the cap space can only keep growing so much if it's just in America. And so this is, you're seeing the amount of money that's coming into the NFL through international games. That then obviously
let's not sugarcoat it. This is
spreads
revenue.
out.
This is revenue.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
revenue.
absolutely.
It's
Yeah,
not for
of
anything
course.
else. It's expansion with love of the game to then create revenue. Like and that
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that. That's capitalism. That's don't be upset with that. Like, but it is, isn't it? And like you said, the cap space will grow.
Yeah.
I think European division's a little strong for my blood.
No, so I'm kind of with you. I think the idea I've said very from when we probably started this podcast, to be honest, the idea of having a team in London that is specifically for, I dread to think what they'd come up with as a name, but I'm a Green Bay Packer fan. I'm not going to support you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. You're going to suddenly give up doing that because there's a London team. Now, I think a lot of us probably come out and go, oh, we got a bit of a soft spot for the Jags. They're all right because we've seen them so often, and especially for like you say, for us who get to do media, that kind of you have conversations with players at the Jags and things like that. So I think there is a feeling of oh, we don't mind them, we quite like them, and we want to see them do well. But none of us are buying their jerseys. None of us are getting overly excited about the Jags because we all support our own teams. And that's why I just always feel like you can try and go down that route. And I just don't know how successful it's going to be. Whereas I think a lot of people quite like the way that it works now in respect of you get to see lots of different teams and you don't have, there's not that sort of tribal football type thing at NFL games when it's like in London because, not all the people that are there don't necessarily support the two teams that are playing. So I think that's a big thing. And I think it works quite well. So I think what they're doing is great. I think going to Paris is brilliant. I think if they go to Rome, great. Like you say, Melbourne would be brilliant. I think for the Australian market, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think they need to keep doing that and keep going down that road. But I do feel like once you've sort of reached a point of, because the idea is that everyone plays an international game. Once you've reached that point, I feel like that's where it needs to stop. But I doubt it will because it's the NFL and they always want to grow, don't they? So
yeah, and we already know that the LA Rams will be playing in Melbourne. We now know the New Orleans Saints will be playing in Paris. We know that the Jacksonville Jaguars will play at Wembley.
Yeah,
but we don't know about any other fixtures.
No.
So we don't know yet. I mean, the Saints coming over. There's ties between New Orleans and France. A lot of history between the country and the city. So it makes sense for them to go there. I think it's great for them to go. They're a team that is on the rise. I don't necessarily think they're going to be firing on all cylinders next season, but we've seen the fight from them. Do you think Do you think it is a pull? Is it going to be? Is it being the first game in Paris going to be enough with having the Saints there? Because let's face it, they're not a premium franchise at the minute.
I don't think it matters necessarily on the first one. I think people will just be excited to go because it's the first game in Paris, and I think that you'll see a lot of French people wanting to go just because of that. Does it pull you to go, or
I think from a
if you specifically go New Orleans Saints, or are you thinking, oh, it's the first game in Paris, I'd like to be there?
We have to. One caveat we have to say is we're not going to buy tickets to go. Like that's one thing. That's and I've said it a million times, but I always like to reiterate it. Is a huge privilege that we get the access that we do, and hopefully we do get that access in 2026. Nothing is written. You never know what things might change. From my perspective, this season, I said I wanted to go to Dublin, and I definitely wanted to go to Dublin because it was the first game and it was my team. Never seen my team play.
Yeah.
But I think that echoed amongst everybody going in general in the NFL world of like people wanted to go to Dublin to watch the game. Yeah. It was an attraction. We have friends from Germany who are not Steelers nor Vikings fans went there to go to Dublin and to be in amongst it. The next one for me last year was Madrid. I really, because I've never been to Madrid. So it was an excuse for me to go to Madrid. I didn't really care about seeing the Miami Dolphins play. I liked that it would be the LA Chargers, and I want to see the LA Chargers play because I like Harbaugh and I like the team. But it didn't exactly pull me there. It was more of it was in Madrid that it pulls me there. Does Paris pull me? I've not been to Paris. I'm very privileged to have been to Paris a few times. I don't know if it does pull me. It pulls me in the sense of the accessibility for me to get there is incredibly easy for me. I can be in Paris in 2 hours, 3 hours really. I can about 2 hours, I think, and I can be in central Paris and I can rock up straight there. I could even not go until Sunday morning if I so wanted to, which is it is nice to be able to have that. I don't know if I don't think it necessarily will drag British UK fans everywhere to there, and nor does it need to. It's for French fans. It was the same with Ireland and Dublin. It wasn't the UK. That was it's Ireland's fans deserve that. And it's the same with France. French fans deserve this, and it's going to be theirs to celebrate. It doesn't rely on the UK people coming over, nor does it in Madrid nor Germany. It's for them. It's to celebrate them having it, and we get our time. They should have their time as well. So does it draw me? Does it being the Saints draw me? No, not overly. It depends who they play in a way. But then if they get a big team, you just like, well, is it blowout? If we get a rubbish fixture, then do we? But then again, the fixture may get announced. And it was the exact same we had with some seasons where we've gone, oh, that's a crap fixture. And then it's come around and that team's playing really well. I don't think Denver Jets was like, that's going to be a great game to watch. But then when Denver started the season the way they do, everyone was like, wow, I can't wait to see Denver play now. Yes, it weren't the greatest game in the end, but because they started the season well, it was like, well, this is exciting to see Denver play. And, Jags Rams, it was a bit of a, the Rams are going to come there and completely, outplay them. Yes, they did in the end. But the start the Jags had, it was like, well, this might be the best game. This might be a really competitive game. Turned out to be incredibly one-sided game. I think there's just so many variables, right? There's just so many variables before the season starts. When the fixtures get announced, you can feel what you feel, but you don't really know until that first 4 weeks, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think that most European or not most international games, you normally, when it's the first one in that specific city, you normally get a decent matchup. That's normally what they do in order to try and sort of like push it a bit more. As you say, the Saints have got connection, obviously with France. So that's why they're there. So it's a little bit different. But I feel like they're going to need to put a pretty solid, like playoff standard team.
Would you go as far as to say it's a division game?
I kind of feel like they don't want to do that, do they? They seem reluctant to do that, which for the American fans you can kind of understand why. So I don't think it'll be a division game, but I think I don't know who the Saints have got.
I was literally just about to look that up actually.
But they must have some some teams that are sort of, ones that made the playoffs this year, and you kind of feel like that's probably what they're going to have to do in order to be able to sort of create a bit of a buzz around it. And I think it's the same with all of them. I mean, like you say, when what we had this year, it did feel like the Jags-Rams game was going to be the best game of the three, and it kind of turned out to be a bit of a blowout. So,
do you want me to give you the home games? I'll take out their division rivals.
Is it a home game in Paris?
I don't know whether they've confirmed that, but let's face it.
Yeah, probably will be.
Like they did it the other year, didn't they? For someone, who did they do it for? It was Green Bay. They're like, it might be an away game. You're like, it's not. You've announced them. It's a home. Let's be honest. So without division, they've got Green Bay, Minnesota, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Vegas, Arizona. That's it, I believe. Let me just triple check that though, because I do want to.
I'll pack my bag, shall I?
Yes. So Minnesota, they've got Minnesota. See, it's not saying they've got home games are against the Vikings, Browns, Steelers, Raiders, Cardinals. See, it hasn't got them listed as playing. Let's go on the official Saints website. That probably it'll be a lot easier.
It'll be like I said, I think it has to be a team that's kind of playoff.
So yes, Green Bay, Minnesota, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Arizona, Raiders. I think for that, it has to be Green Bay.
Yeah, it does kind of feel. I mean, the only other one you could maybe go for is the Steelers, but just purely the name. Yeah. Well, yeah, but I think I understand that, but like I say, I think the plan is that everybody is going to be playing an international game. Obviously, that won't happen this year, but that's going to be the plan in the end. But yeah, I mean, until you reach that point where there's more games, I mean, it does feel like Green Bay is kind of the standout name, and you sort of feel like, with the Saints, it kind of feels like where they are at the moment, you need to have a standout fixture against them in order to be able to really sell it.
I just don't think you put Pittsburgh on the road. I don't think you put Pittsburgh on a flight again. Minnesota have been over far too often. They at one point have got to be like, we've played 1 year, then did 2 games.
Yeah, well, they've got to come back to us, and all they do is come over to London now. And then that's the other thing. You might find it's a team that does it dependent. They do one and then move across to Paris. You don't know, do you?
Yeah, I mean, it could be. It could well be. It'll be interesting to see what that bracket who plays. Well, no, because you don't know who's playing. I mean, you could see who's playing Jacksonville. That's the only. But then I think if you're the away team in Paris, you're the home team in London, right? That's got to be how it works.
Yeah, or the other way around. Yeah, one of the two.
Yeah. Well, no, it can't be the way around because we think the Saints are going to be the home team. So
yeah, but I mean, it could be the Saints come into. It depends when it is.
Oh well, yeah, the Saints could be playing at home there, and then it would be away there. And I suppose, it's food for thought. Very, very, very interesting. Adam, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for watching. If you watched on the YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe this video. And if you are listening on any podcast platforms, make sure you are subscribed as well. Make sure you go on social media and subscribe to us. It is all led to this in San Francisco, Super Bowl 60. We'll be back with our review / reaction, I suppose, the day after the Super Bowl. Like I said, make sure you check out Sky's channels, which is Sky the Limit, on all social media platforms as well. He'll be in San Francisco putting in a lot of good work and having a lot of fun, I'm sure. Shout out to all of our friends over in San Francisco who will have a really great time. Enjoy the week, enjoy the game. Make sure you get the beers in, get the food in, let the good times roll, and celebrate what has been a fantastic season. We'll see you all again very soon.